Okay, so we have a trust and understanding, because there's an old bit I want to do that I've never put online. It's not up anywhere, but it is basically, it's about race. And I feel, do we trust each other? Yeah. You okay for me to have an honest discussion about, because I feel weird about discussing race in Scotland, because 80% of the room is white and 90% of the room is even whiter, right? And I'm obsessed with race. I'm intrigued by race. People confuse that with bigotry, and sometimes I understand your history as well, that if you see a comedian talking about race on stage, you immediately think of Brendon, right? But the fact of the matter is, I've never seen the cunt. So, don't tarnish me with your brush, I'm Australian. I have my own guilt. I don't need yours. We successfully committed genocide and the world's under the delusion that we're surfers, right? Because it is it's a very, very touchy subject, and it's hard to get it right, because then also sometimes if you discuss race, you get like people over-empathising, sometimes bigots think you're on their side. I had a guy in Australia come up to me after the show, right, and I was talking about going to different countries and different cultures, and this guy comes up to me and goes, "Mate, I fucking love what you said. I fucking love what you said. Yeah, you know what? I'm from Brizzy. You know what I reckon? Fuck 'em. Bunch of abo Jews." What does that even mean? Do you ever hear something so racist, you can't even tell who the guy hates? Who are the abo Jews? Where are the abo Jews coming from? I don't even know how to blend stereotypes to take the piss out of those people. Because it's so strange now. I go back to Australia, and bear in mind, I haven't been there for like 20 years now, and it's as if I've come out of a time capsule. Because now, in Australia, there are Asian Australians. I think you would say Oriental here, is that right? Or is that right? No, that's a rude word? Or are you American? Oh, no. See, yeah, exactly. In America, it is considered... Did you know that? In America, Oriental is considered a racial slur? I know, you're offended by geography? That's fucking commitment. Good for you. But check this out, you'll know this. I didn't know first time I went to America. And there was loads of, Asian Americans, as you would say, over here, Asian means Indian and Pakistani people, right? And so I said, I don't want to offend anyone, so I'll say Oriental American. And everyone's like, he doesn't fucking know. And I was like, Oriental American, what? And someone goes, that's offensive. And I went, what, American? And she goes, no, Oriental. And do you know why they find it offensive? What the gut-wrench response, what the answer is every time when you say Oriental? And they go, what am I, a fucking rug? Which really freaks me out, because the rug they're talking about is Persian, right? So yes, so we mean Oriental people, and there are now Oriental Australians, right, when I go home, with full-on broad Aussie accents. And that takes a couple of generations for a culture to kick in. That didn't happen when I left, just like they were full-on Aussie Asian, just in the fucking blue singlets and the thongs, and just, "G'day, how you fucking going? I'm Darren." I'm like, whoa, wow! That is my favourite thing about globalisation. It makes me feel like as humans we're going to be okay. That the world is getting so much smaller, and it warms the cockles of my heart that every time I see an accent come out of a race I wasn't expecting. You know what I mean? It's like, do you have any idea how bizarre it is the first time you come to Scotland and you walk into a corner store and you hear a Pakistani guy go, "Oh, you're right, pal!" And you're like, whoa! How the fuck did that noise come out of that head? And you get the wobble. You're freaking me out! But I'm glad you brought up the Oriental thing, because different countries have different racial slurs, don't they? For instance, earlier I said abo, right? I feel really weird about it, but no one flinched. No one flinched at all. Abo in Australia, massive racial slur. However, in Australia, Paki isn't. It isn't a racial slur. Although I should stress, in Australia, when we say Paki, we mean Pakistanis, as opposed to Indians, Bangladeshis, Egyptians, and anyone with brown skin and straight hair. Beginning to understand why it might be considered a racial slur. But I'm not giving you a free pass because I think it's really out of order when Scottish people call the corner store the packy shop. They go, the packy shop. And I'm like, mate, you really shouldn't say that. And it's like, well, it's no racist, it's no racist. And I'm like, well, the guy's Indian for a start, right? And it's like, it's all the fucking same, innit? It's all the fucking same, innit? Really? You don't flip out when I call you British then, you cunts, right? But so I feel weird saying Abbo, but like, and I learned very quickly coming here, you know, how rude it is to say, but isn't that weird that in Australia you can't say Abbo, you can say Packy, here you can say Abbo, but you can't say Packy, right? As far as I can tell, if you fuck someone over in history, you just don't get to abbreviate their name. But we are so desensitized to that word, right? That word is so not a racial slur that when Pakistan, I shit you not, when Pakistan used to come and play Australia in the cricket, right, in the 80s, the advert on telly, word for word, went, "Oh, the Packies are coming. Imran and his mates, the Packies are coming. They're gonna play cricket." Because we're not very good at marketing. We have a much smaller population, therefore anyone can advertise on television. It's like, you know, prime time, Friday night, middle of the adverts, you'll have a bloke walking out with a all black screen behind him just going, "G'day, I'm Barry, I've got a shop, come on down, we've got stuff." How big's your fucking shop, Barry? Because racism is a decision. Being a racist is a decision, and it's actually a tough one to make. You know what I mean? That's rough to commit to that idea. You know, I mean, because can you imagine, like, that's just got to be really draining. You know, can you imagine deciding to be a racist and living in fucking London? You know, how do you your day would get fucked up all the time. Good luck getting to the shots without being pissed off. Just, oh, fuck, there's one. Oh. Because stay with me, all right? Because this is going to sound like covert racism. Right? Perfect response. Well done, by the way. Because exactly, if you do like, that's okay in front of Scottish people, because if you do that joke, if you say that in front of English people, you say, this is going to sound like covert racism. They all go, oh good, my favourite kind. You see, I like to take my racism and bury it beneath a mountain of classist pretension and attached irony. But you carry on, convict boy. No doubt you're about to say something unenlightened. Take that, England that lives in my head. But stay with me, because it's going to sound like almost patronising, but it's taken me 24 years to discover that I really crave black approval. You know? I do. I really want a black audience, because you have to understand, when I was growing up and all the kids went through their music phase, I went through my comedy phase, and I just like was obsessed with, like, Flip Wilson was the first comedian I ever saw. I was a massive Richard Pryor fan. I was a massive Eddie Murphy fan. And it's taken me 23 years in the business to realise that I have tried to emulate black American comedy, which is why I've been punched a lot, right? Turns out I don't have the same license they do, right? And the weird thing is I do black gigs in America, and it's fucking a blast, because they fucking love Aussies. I had no idea that Crocodile Dundee was fucking massive in the black community. I can go to areas that my other white friends can't. I can go to Popeye's Chicken, which is the most bulletproof building you... See her? She pissed us off laughing. And my mates are going, you sure about this? And I'm like, watch this, don't worry. G'day mate, how you fucking going? They're like, you sound like the motherfucking Crocodile Man. Motherfucker. And I'm so happy inside. You win over a black crowd, it's the best fucking night of your life. They're high-fiving and fucking each other in the eye. It's amazing. So for years and years, right, you see I'm even doing that, right? I try to emulate that. But I didn't realise for years I thought I was like doing that fucking hip-hop thing, and the thing is, I drink so much of this shit, it depletes your testosterone. I've seen videos. I just look like a really gay lobster. Yeah, you fucking check that out. Because I know we have like, it's a phenomenon, isn't it? That you know, black culture, is very influential now, and there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of young kids that act black as well. But you know what? There's a lot more Asians in this country. A lot more Asians in this country. You know, and I always wonder when you see like white kids doing that, do you feel a bit left out? You know, would you like it if you just saw black kids, you know, acting Asian? It's like, oh my goodness, look at her. I wouldn't mind taking her out to a movie and meeting her parents. All right, I know it's a shitty attempt at your accent. But if you're an Indian or a Pakistani person and you live in Wales, how can you tell if someone's taking the piss? 20 Mansons, please. Are you taking the piss? 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 And if you're looking for racism in that joke, retrace the steps and you discover that the shopkeeper was Welsh. Right! Because it's so sensitive. It's so sensitive and everyone's so caught up. You know, because it's just different sensibilities, different. But I'm not going to do this whole fucking it's political correctness gone mad. You know, and I'm going to use this as my excuse to carry on being a cunt, right? Because I can't claim political correctness has gone mad because I'm Australian. You know, political correctness hasn't reached Australia yet. The #1 cheese in Australia is called coon. Are you aware of that? Yes. And it's not even with a K. Oh no. No. C-O-O-N. Smear some coon on your bread, fucking God bless you. But different countries have different racial slurs because, again, I was in Amsterdam, very multicultural room, right? And I was telling this story, and the thing is, the only thing, you know, I'm now at an age that I just don't want to. I don't want to have another discussion with an offended person. But also, I really, you know, I hope that there's a sense of joy and wonderment in everything I do. But I said the #1 cheese is called coon, and the whole room went fucking just deathly quiet, right? And I'm like, no, I don't approve. The target of the joke is, and I'm just fucking sweating, and I'm over-explaining myself, and I'm ruining the fucking joke. I'm just fucking raping it, right? But I just so desperately didn't want to be misunderstood, and I was like, no, you can't. And then finally this black woman in the front row let me off the hook and put her hand up and went, none of us know what a coon is. What do you do? What do you do when a black Dutch woman says, none of us know what a coon is? What do you do? Because you can't go like, well, you can't. You can't. That's rude and mean. So this lady comes up to me afterwards, this Dutch lady, she goes, that was hysterical. The Negro woman didn't know what a coon was. Whoa! And she's looking at me going, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I went, you can't say that. And she goes, what? And I said, Negro, that's a rude word. Negro, no. And she goes, well, what would you say? And I said, black. And she went, whoa! Whoa! Because, you know, okay, this is the biggie. You know, you can't talk about racial slurs without discussing the N-word, right? And I don't mean non-committal. But like most right-thinking white people, I don't use the N-word in public, just during sex. Which is weird, because my girlfriend's Chinese. And I'm like, honey, you have your own words. Stay with me. Stay with me. There's love in my heart. Because you know what? I don't use the N-word not because I'm offended or outraged by it. It's actually just because I don't want to upset black people. You know? It's like I don't say cunt in front of a nun. I know. And actually to me, it just comes down to manners. I think it's a black call, you know? That's what I think. It's a black call, and I'll abide by that. Because I know, like, I was in the States recently, and there's loads of white people going, well, how come they can say cracker, and I can't say the N-word? Why is that not? And I think it's a bit of a booby prize, because I'll be brutally honest, right? You know, there are black people in the room. Well, this is Scotland, fuck, right? You know what? I was gigging in Newcastle Because the thing is, you know that a lot of like people of different races come to Scotland and they see that it's all white and they're like, fuck, is this really racist? You know, because years ago, I was in Newcastle with a black American comedian called Patrice O'Neill, who's sadly no longer with us. And we were living together and he refused to go outside the whole time we were there. Right? And I was like, mate, fucking, this is your first time, you know, in Britain. Don't you want to go and have a look around? And he goes, no, there's no black people. And I was like, so? And he goes, well, you have to understand, when, you know, in America, if I go somewhere where there's no black people, it's because they're racist. And I had to tell him, no, the reason there's no black folks in Newcastle is that black folks don't want to live in fucking Newcastle. Let me see, my people are from a traditionally warm climate. Let's flock to the northern coast, shall we? I mean, even motorways don't go to fucking Newcastle. But as we learned with the George Zimmerman case, that actually the only people that really benefit, right? Because, you know, people will say, oh, why can't I say it? Why can't I say it? But the fact of the matter is, you know what? No one's taking it from me. I'm not hanging out. You know, if black people all get together one day and decide, you know what, it's okay for you to say it, I'm not going to be running around screaming it in the street. I'm not fucking white-knuckling it one bit. Because I think it's a black call, but I do think, because, you know what, no one is taking that word away from me. No one is taking that word away from me, right? By making it taboo, you're giving it to racists. You know? No matter how far people come, that fucking southern, redneck, toothless, tobacco-chewing, fucking cousin-rooting fucking hick will always have that word, and it's been given to him, gift wrap. But you know how we can change the history, the subtext, the power, and the meaning of that word forever? Forever! Forever! And the answer lies in the British House of Lords. Because the British House of Lords is the whitest governing body in the world. Even other white nations look at the British House of Lords in their fucking ludicrous red capes and their fucking archaic white wigs as they're all bellowing at one another. It's not even an accent, it's just a fucking disability. What is that? You know, you sound like you're underwater. What are you doing? You know, even other white nations look at the British House of Lords. Holy shit, that's white, right? And the way we change the meaning of that word forever, right, is that in the British House of Lords, when they're all kicking off and they're screaming at one another, going, oh, blah, blah, sit down, sir, for shame, for shame. I ask you, Mr. Speaker, please. Just once, the Speaker of the House just goes, order, 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 niggers, please. And there was a Make-A-Wish kid whose dying wish was to meet Donald Trump. And to make matters worse, he looked like him.